Okay, so I am back, and I missed you guys. I hate missing school because I feel so thrown off when I get back, and I'm sure everybody else does too. It's not the same having a different teacher in here. Just throws stuff off. So today is Thursday, and that would mean it's day 7. Day 7. Okay. So let's just look at these inequalities together. I gave you a little worksheet of compound inequalities. And first of all, how did we feel about these? I know it's been a couple days since I've seen y'all. Not good. Not good? Let's see. What are we struggling with? Let's just start with number 1. How about that? So for number 1, we have a compound inequality. It is an OR inequality. So which way is my shading going to go? Are we going to shade in the middle or on the outside? Outside. We know that because it's OR. So we need to solve both of these first, and then we're going to graph it. So let's go ahead and start with the first part of our compound inequality. We have negative 3n plus 1 is less than negative 5. What would we do first here?
Subtract 1.
Good. Subtract 1 from both sides. Okay, so I've subtracted 1. My 1's cancel. And what happens next?
Bring everything down.
Good. We'll bring everything down. I still have a negative 3n. I have a less than symbol.
Negative 6.
Good. Negative 6. Okay. Did everybody get this far? Anybody not get this far? What did you say that you had a spot that you got a different number?
No, I thought I got it wrong, but I think I got it right. So
I bet you did. I bet you did. So what would we do next here?
Divide.
Okay, I'm dividing by a negative 3. So what happens if I divide by a negative? We're going to have to flip our sign. That's one thing to remember, you guys. We just divided by negative 3 on our variable. So we have to flip the sign. Now we have n is what? Greater than. And what is negative 6 divided by negative 3? 2. Positive 2?
Yep.
Yes. N is greater than 2. Everybody get that first part?
Okay, I did it wrong.
Okay, where did you get mixed up?
The sign.
The sign, just flipping the sign. Yes, so that is a newer rule for us, and we're going to get lots more practice with it on this worksheet in particular. So if you didn't remember to flip the sign, make a little note. Remember, if we divide by a negative or multiply by a negative, we flip the sign. And that's what happened here. Because we divided by a negative, we flipped the sign. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve the other half of our compound inequality. What would I do first here? Good, let's subtract 2 on both sides. Okay, my 2's will cancel out. And what do I do next?
Bring the 2n down.
Good, bring my 2n down.
It's less than negative 12.
Good, is less than negative 12. So what do I do next?
Divide by 2 on both sides.
Good, let's divide by 2 on both sides. My 2's will cancel.
N is greater than negative 6.
N is
Less than.
good, less than negative 6. So do we need to do any sign flipping on this second one? No, why not?
Because you didn't divide by a negative.
No, we did not divide by a negative here or multiply by a negative, so that sign doesn't change. Now, before we graph this, does anybody have any questions about any part of this process, or did anybody get a different answer and not sure why they did? Okay, we all got it so far?
Yeah.
Good. So now we have our graph. What should we do first when we're graphing a compound inequality?
You put smaller number towards the negative.
Good, 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 good. We want to decide which of these two numbers is bigger, which is smaller. Which one is smaller? -6. So it comes first. Smaller number goes first. And that means my other number, 2, goes second. Okay, so we've got our numbers labeled. Now what should we do? Yeah, let's circle them. And we need to decide, do these circles stay open or do we shade them? They stay open. Good. Now why are we keeping these open? Yes, they're just greater than and less than. There's no equal to there, so we keep them open. So now let's decide what direction we shade. Let's look at our -6 first. N is less than -6, so do I shade to the right or to the left? To the left. Good. And now let's look at our 2. N is greater than 2, so which direction? To the right. Good. And we know it's shaded correctly because this is an OR inequality. An OR should be shaded away from each other. Good. How do we feel about number 1? Y'all feel okay about it? Good. Okay, let's look at number 2. Number 2, I have 7 plus n divided by 2 is greater than or equal to -2. And, this is an and, -5 plus 8 times n is less than 19. Let's work on this side first. What should I do here to begin? Good. Let's get rid of that 7. -7 on both sides. Good. My 7's cancel. Good. Bring down my n over 2. Greater than or equal to. Yes, -9. Perfect. Everybody get to this point? Yay.
Okay, I seriously lost.
That's okay. So, Lisa, tell me, did you start by subtracting 7?
I don't know what I did.
Can I see your paper?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, here, come and show it to me. Let me see. Let's see it.
See it, have it. Stop shouting.
Okay, you got it. Let's see. So you, oh, I see. You started with the 2, the -2. Let's see. Okay, you did -2, and then you got 5. Okay, so I won't show your work, but can I rewrite kind of what you did to give an example? Okay, so let's talk about a common mistake that I see. It is common. I see this a lot. So don't feel like you're totally like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. You can. It happens.
Yesterday I had got a brain fart.
Uh-huh.
I was doing it the same way she was doing yesterday. I had got a brain fart. I'm like, hold on. You have to start with the side of your symbol.
Yes.
You know, the side of your quantity, right?
With the variable on it. Yes.
See, on IXL, it's doing that 4, 4, 4. So like +4, +4, +4.
Oh, they were doing the weird ones where it was,
Yeah.
gosh, guys,
So
I'm
that's why
sorry.
IXL sucks.
I'm sorry. I know. I hate, on IXL, I can't control the problems. I just hate
Like
not
doing
being
the
here.
science or the social studies or the reading of it on IXL is fine.
Math
The
is-
math,
mm-mm.
you can't do that.
No, I agree. So let's look at this. So what if I did this first? And then I had 5 plus and 2. I guess that would, ooh, I don't know. Well, okay, so what's wrong here? What's wrong here?
Subtract it from the wrong side.
Ooh, yeah. So we started over here. Why would we say this is from the wrong side?
Because you have to have something there.
Yeah, if I did this, well, first of all, let's talk about what's going on here. If I subtract 2 from a -2, this is actually going to give me -4 over here. It wouldn't cancel. We got to do the opposite thing, right? So really I would want to add 2 if I did that. But let's talk about why we wouldn't want to start on this side of the inequality. What would be the reason that it would make more sense to start by subtracting 7?
Because we need to get in by itself.
Yes, remember our goal is always to get in, or x, or y, z, whatever the variable is. The goal is to get the variable by itself. So we're trying to get rid of everything that is with the variable. So this side of my equation, or my inequality, is where my n is. I want to get rid of the 7 and the 2, so the n will be by itself. If I get rid of my -2, that doesn't help me get n by itself. So let's go back to where we were going. Okay, does that make sense to everybody that we're trying to get n by itself? Okay, so we have subtracted 7 from both sides now. We brought everything down, and now I have n divided by 2 is greater than or equal to -9. So what would I do from here?
2 times 2.
Times 2. Good. We're still trying to get n by itself. We have divided by 2, so to get rid of it, we do the opposite. We multiply. So my 2's cancel. And what happens next? Now I have n,
Bring your thing.
my greater than or equal to.
Negative 9 times 2 is negative 18.
Perfect. -9 times 2 is -18. Very good. Okay, so we've got one part of our compound inequality solved. Before we start the other part, does anybody feel confused about any of the steps involved here? Or do we all feel good about it? Everybody feels good? We good over here too? Good? Okay. So let's look at the next part. Now I have -5 plus 8n is less than 19. What should I do first?
Add 5.
Add 5. Good. Why are you deciding to add 5 first?
Because we need in by itself.
Yes, I want to get n by itself, so I want to get rid of anything that is keeping n from being by itself. So what happens next?
Bring down 8 and
Bring down 8n,
your sign
my sign, which is less than.
is 24.
19 plus 5 is 24. Okay. What would my last step be here?
Divide by 8.
Good. Let's divide by 8. My 8's will cancel. I've got n
Less than 3.
less than 24 divided by 8 should be 3. Very, very nice. Okay. Any questions on any of this? Anybody get a different answer and they're not sure why?
I did, but it's just because I subtracted and added.
I gotcha. Subtracted instead of added. Super, super common mistake, especially when you see the plus next to a negative number.
I don't think it does.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, the most important part is being able to catch it and seeing, okay, I see why that is not correct, and then we learn from it. So that's good. Okay, so now we have our two answers. N is greater than or equal to -18, and n is less than 3. What number goes where on this number line? Good. -18, where does it go?
And the first tick.
On the first tick mark. -18 is smaller because it's a negative number. So that means 3 must go here. And let's look at our circles. So -18, is this going to be an open circle or a closed circle? Closed. Why is it closed?
Because it's equal to or
Yes. Good, because there's an equal to line underneath. It tells us that -18 is included in our answer, so we shade it. Now how about 3? Is that open or closed? Open. Good, there's no equal to there. Now, where are we shading our number line?
in the middle.
In the middle. Good. I see that n is greater than or equal to -18. I'm shading greater. N is less than 3. I'm shading less. They're going towards each other. We shade in the middle. We also see that this is an and inequality, and ands should be shaded in the middle. Okay. Any questions on number 2?
I did all of it wrong.
So what did you do differently on the second one? I already saw your
I did
first
the
one.
Same thing to the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I did. I did a lot of things weird.
That's okay. Here, let me pause this. Show me your paper. I want to look at it. Okay, so number 3, we have another tricky one. Can anybody tell me right off the bat, what is something that they recognize or that you might recognize that might be a little tricky about number 3? Yes, my first part of this compound inequality, I see that there is a negative number on my variable, negative 2n. So I already know right off the bat, I'm going to be dividing by a negative at some point. So our sign is going to flip. So let's keep that in mind as we solve it. I'll highlight this one. We know we're going to be flipping this. We have a negative here on our variable. So where do we start here?
Add 8.
Yeah, let's add 8 to both sides. Okay, my 8's will cancel. I'll bring my negative 2 in, my greater than, and 12 plus 8 is? 20. Good. Okay, so what do I do next?
Divide by -2.
Good, let's divide by negative 2 on both sides.
And it's going to be n is less than.
Good, we got to flip our sign. And again, we're dividing by a negative here, so we're flipping our sign. N is less than, what was that answer?
-10.
-10. Good. Okay. Any questions about this first part? All right. Let's go on to the next one. We have 10 plus n over 3 is greater than or equal to -2. What would I do here? Good. Let's subtract 10. And those cancel. Bring down my n over 3. Greater than or equal to what? Good. -12. What's my next step here?
Multiply by 3.
Good. We have n divided by 3, so we want to take that times 3 to get rid of it. Okay. My 3's will cancel, and I'll get n is greater than what? Negative. Oh, you're right. Thank you for catching me. Everybody, I make mistakes too, guys. Call me out on it. So we have n is greater than or equal to negative what? 36. Negative 36. Very good. Okay. So we've got both of our answers. Now, how are we going to do this graph?
-36 goes on first.
Good. Negative 36 goes first because it is smaller than negative 10. Remember, the negatives act opposite of positive numbers, so a bigger negative number is actually a smaller number.
Maybe a closed circle.
Good. Closed circle on negative 36 because we have an equal to. I appreciate you guys catching that. Okay, and so negative 10 must go here, and is that going to be an open circle or a closed? Open. Good. Okay, and which way are we shading? In the middle. Very good. This is an and compound inequality. We could also look at the signs of our answers. I know n is greater than or equal to negative 36, so greater goes to the right. Negative 10, we have n is less than that. That goes to the left. They're going towards each other. Very good. Okay. Any questions, comments, things we're unsure about for number 3? Everybody good? Okay. Okay, are we ready for number 4? Okay, I'm going to turn my paper. Okay, number 4, we have another OR inequality. Let's start with this side over here. N over 4 minus 1 is less than 2. What do I do first? Add 1. Good. Okay. My 1s will cancel. Bless you.
N over 4
Bring down my N over 4
is less than 3.
is less than 3. Good.
Then you're going to multiply 4 on both.
Good. Then I'm going to multiply by 4 on both sides.
And your 4's canceled.
My 4's cancel.
N is less than 12.
Perfect. N is less than 12. Good, good, good. All right. Everybody got that part so far? Okay, let's look at the other half. I've got 2n plus 3 is greater than 43. What do I do first?
Subtract 3.
Good. Subtract 3 from both sides. My 3's cancel. I'll bring it all down. I've got 2n is greater than 40. And what's my last step? Good. Divide by 2 on both sides. So I'm going to get n is greater than what? 20. Beautiful. Okay. So I've got n is less than 12, and then I have n is greater than 20. So where do my numbers go? What order?
12 goes in the first one.
Perfect. 12 first, and then 20. Are my circles open or closed? Open for both. Both open. And where am I shading? Outside. Good. I see n is less than 12, so I shade left of 12. N is greater than 20. I'm shading to the greater side, to the right. I see that it's OR, so they should be facing outwards. That's perfect. Okay. Any questions on number 4? Did anybody get different answers and they're not sure why? Okay. Can we go to number 5, or does anybody still need a minute to write? Happy to wait? Okay. Let's look at number 5 real quick. Okay. Number 5, last one on the worksheet. I have an AND inequality. And I've got -5 plus 4n is greater than or equal to 3, and n over 4 plus 3 is less than or equal to 15. What should I do first over here?
Plus 5.
Good, plus 5 on both sides. My 5's will cancel.
Bring 4 in there.
Good, bring 4n down.
Sign.
Bring down my sign.
8.
And 3 plus 5 is 8. And what should I do next?
Time. I mean, divide.
Oh, yes, let's divide by 4. And then I'll get n is greater than or equal to 2. Perfect. Perfect. Okay, let's look at the second part. What do I do first?
-3.
Good, let's subtract 3.
3.
My 3's cancel.
Bring the n.
Bring down n over 4.
Sign.
My sign less than or equal to 15 minus 3 is 12. Okay. So I'm here. I've got one last step. What should I do?
4 times 4.
Good. Let's take it times 4 since we're dividing. Yes, let's bring down n, the sign less than or equal to 12 times 4, 48. Good. Very, very good. All right, and these are pretty simple to tell which one's smaller. They're already done in order. We'll put a 2 first, 48 second. Now on my 2, is it an open circle or closed? Closed. Good. It's greater than or equal to. And then my 48, open or closed?
Close.
Closed, awesome. And where do I shade? Inside, in between. They're pointing at each other. N is greater than or equal to 2. Greater goes to the right. Less than or equal to 48. Less goes to the left. They're pointing at each other. We shade in between. Okay. That's our worksheet. Any questions on this worksheet? Okay. I am happy to leave this up for a moment. If anybody is finishing writing these down, I would like for you guys to go ahead and look at that practice quiz I handed you. There should be one at your table. If there's not, let me know and I'll get you one. I'm going to find my copy first. I think I left them up here at the front of the room. Okay. So, this is our first practice quiz we are doing together, and just to let everyone in this room know, if you haven't had me before, this is what you can expect from me. Anytime we have a quiz in here, we will always do a practice quiz first. This practice quiz will be almost an exact copy of the quiz you will take. After we do the practice quiz today, this is all we're doing for instruction today. If after you take this practice quiz you feel confident, you want to take the quiz today, absolutely take it. Remember, you can make corrections to it. I say it's worth at least giving it a go. If you do really bad on it, you can fix your answers, so it's okay. Doing your best, or if you don't feel ready to take it, you can wait till next week. And that is just because I have not been here and I don't want anybody to feel rushed. So, when we take a practice quiz, what we do is I just run through all the questions with you together. If you would prefer to do this by yourself, feel free to kind of tune me out and work on it alone. But we're going to go through all of them together as a class. So, let's start with number 1. We are going to be doing equations on the first side of our quiz. And after each problem, I'll tell you how many points each one will be worth. And then we'll just kind of go over anything. At any point you have questions for me, don't hesitate to ask. I want everybody to ask if you're not sure what's going on at any point. So, first of all, does everybody have a practice quiz? Okay, good. So let's start on number 1. Remember, equations are just like inequalities. You just don't have to worry about the signs. I have 5n minus 3 is equal to 12. What should I do first? Add 3. Good. Let's add 3 to both sides. Okay. My 3's will cancel. What do I do next?
Bring down your 5n equals 15.
Good. Let's bring down our 5n equals, and then 12 plus 3 is 15. Okay. So now I have 5n is equal to 15. What do I do here? Divide by 5. Good. Okay. My 5's will cancel. I'll have n equals what? 3. And that's your answer. Very nice. So when we take this quiz, this problem here is going to be worth 1, 2, 3 points. Just in case you're curious. Where those points are going to come from is I'm going to see that you did the operations in the correct order, meaning first you added 3, next you divided by 5, and third you got the right answer. Okay, so that's where those 3 points come from. Any questions about number 1? Okay, let's look at number 2. This one's trickier. We have variables on both sides of our equation. So there's a couple different ways we could start this one. We could start by combining our variables, or we could start by combining our terms that don't have variables, our 2 and our 51. What would you guys like to do first? What are we thinking? Sure, let's combine our variables. So I have 4n, and on the other side of my equation I have negative 3n.
Add negative 3n.
Yes, let's add here. We're going to add 3n. Now, did you say add 3n or add negative 3n? Okay, add 3n. Good. Is anybody confused why we're adding 3n here?
Smaller.
Yeah, we're going to add 3n because it is the smaller one. If I were to move 4n, I would have to subtract 4n on both sides, and then I would end up with a big negative 7n. And we try to avoid negative numbers on our variables when possible. Will it still work? Yes, but you will have more steps in the end because you'll end up having to divide by a -1 or something. So we have our 3n's canceled. Now what happens?
7n plus 2
Good. I have 7n plus 2.
equals 51.
Perfect. Equals 51.
Subtract 2.
Perfect. Subtract 2 from both sides. My 2's will cancel.
7n equals 49.
Good. Then I'll have 7n equals 51 minus 2 is 49.
Divide by 7.
And we'll divide by 7.
N equals 7.
N equals 7. Very good. Very, very good. All right. Any questions about number 2? There are multiple ways to solve this problem. You could start by subtracting 2 if you want to do that part first. You could subtract 4n, just know you'd have that extra step at the end. If anybody at any point on any of these questions wants me to show a different way to solve it, let me know. I'm happy to work it out as many ways as you want to see. Just so you know, you can do it in more than one way. Does anybody want to see other ways to solve number 2, or do we feel good about just seeing the one way? Okay, okay. I know sometimes seeing more than one way confuses us, so don't worry about that. Okay, so number 2 is worth, let's see, we did 1 step here, 2 steps, 3 steps. Our answer is the 4th step. Number 2 is worth 4 points. Those points don't come from doing it in a certain order, just knowing that at some point you combine your variables, you combine your not variables, and then you're dividing, you get your answer. There's 4 steps there. Okay. We ready for number 3? Okay, number 3 is a little tricky. I have n plus 5, and all of that is divided by 3, is equal to 12. What should I do first? Times 3. Yes, if this whole side is being divided by 3, we want to get rid of it and go ahead and times 3 on both sides. Remember, a fraction is just a fancy way of writing division. So what happens on this side of my equation? Yes, my 3's cancel. And I can bring down n plus 5 equals, 12 times 3 is 36. So now I have n plus 5 equals 36. What do I do next? Subtract 5 from both sides. Okay, my 5's cancel. I'll be left with n equals what? 31. That is your answer. Very good. Number 3, first we multiply, then we subtract, then we get our answer. That's 3 little steps. This is worth 3 points on your quiz, if you're keeping track. Okay. Let's look at number 4. So for number 4, I have 6 times the quantity of n plus 2 is equal to 24. There are 2 different ways that we could start this problem. What's one of the ways we could do this? Yeah, do the arrows distribute? Remember, if you see a number outside of something in parentheses, what operation is happening here? Multiplication. We're multiplying. So what is 6 times n? 6n. We'll bring down our plus sign. What's 6 times 2? 12. Perfect. Then we'll just bring everything down. So I have 6n plus 12 equals 24. Okay. What would I do next? Minus 12. Good. Yes.
So the only time you flip the number from a positive to a negative,
Mm-hmm.
is only when your number on the outside is a negative.
Yes. So if this was a negative 6 on the outside, this would turn into negative 6n minus 12. Yes. That's a great question. Does anybody want me to repeat that? I'll repeat it just in case. What she was asking is, you know, what would the case scenario be for us to change this plus 2 to a minus something? That would only happen if the number we're multiplying is negative, because remember, if you take a negative times a positive, it becomes a negative. Good question. Okay, so now we're here. We subtracted 12 from both sides. So I'm going to bring down my 6n equals 24 minus 12 is what? 12. Okay. Now I have 6 times n equals 12. What do I do next? Divide. Good. Divide by 6. N equals 2. Very good. This one is going to be 1. Let's see, we distributed, that's a step. We subtracted, that's a step. 3, 4. 4 points for number 4. Now, does anybody know the other way that we could get rid of the parentheses here instead of distributing?
You could do times, I think 6.
So you would be doing something with the 6, but it wouldn't be times. What's the opposite of times?
Oh,
Yes. So I'm going to show this other way if you're interested. If you like distributing and you don't want to watch this next part, feel free to tune me out. But I do want to show you another way of solving this because it sometimes can be a little easier depending on your problem. But you don't have to do it this way. This is just another option. If you wanted to do it differently, we could see, okay, well, this whole side of my equation is being multiplied by 6. So to get rid of 6, we just do the opposite. Let's divide by 6. And if we do that, we got to do it to both sides, though. Okay. So if we divide by 6, my 6's cancel, and I'd be left with n plus 2 equals, what's 24 divided by 6? Is it 4? 4 plus 4? Yeah, it's 4. Okay. And then what would I do next? Good. You could do minus 2 on both sides. And you would end up with the same answer. N equals 2. And as you can see, the second way is actually less steps. It's a little faster to do it the second way. However, you get the same answer both ways. So either way you do it is going to work. Just wanted to show you that you can do it this way if you like that way better. Any questions about 1 through 4 before we look at the bonus question? Okay, so I came up with something interesting for our bonus. I thought this would be kind of fun. This time you guys are the teacher, and what you are doing is you're finding the mistake in the student's work below. It's all written in green, and then you're supposed to correct it. So sometimes I find that the best way to find a mistake in work, because when you see it all written out, it's a little tricky sometimes. Sometimes I find it's easier to just start the problem over and see where your work looks different than theirs. So let's do that. I'm going to rewrite this problem. 40 equals 3n plus 4. And let's just compare our work to the student work as we go. Again, this is a bonus question. When you take your quiz, you don't have to do this. However, if you do it, you'll get some points. So if you don't do it, it's not counting against you.
How much is number four?
Number 4, 4 points.
Oh, perfect.
Yes. Okay. So here's our problem. I just rewrote it. It looks like the first thing they did is they subtracted 4 from both sides. Is that correct? Yeah. So I'm going to write that. That is correct. That's how we want to start. We'll subtract 4 from both sides. Oh, I don't know why I crossed that off. Whoops. So my 4's cancel. That's good. They brought down 3n. I'll do that too. They brought down 3n equals, what's 40 minus 4? 36. Okay, so up to here they did it right. That's good. So now I have 36 is equal to 3 times n. What would I do next? Divide. What did the student do? They multiplied. Okay, so here's how I would want you to correct their work. First of all, you need to show the right way to do it. Next, I need you to circle where they went wrong. So I see they multiplied by 3. That is wrong. And that means their answer is also wrong. So the first part of getting a bonus point here is being able to cross off the parts that they didn't do correctly and then fixing it to get the right answer. So they multiplied by 3. We're going to divide by 3. My 3's would cancel over here, leaving n by itself. What else am I doing? Bringing down my equal sign, and then 36 divided by 3 is 12. Good. Good, good, good.
You don't have to flip that one.
So whenever we're doing inequalities, we always want to flip it so that we know what direction to shade. On the equations, you don't have to flip it because we're not shading anyway or anything. If you kept it like this, this is correct. But if you decided to flip it and say n equals 12, that's also correct. So you don't have to, but you can. Okay, any questions about number 5, the bonus? Now, I haven't decided how many points the bonus is worth. I need to add up all the total together and see what would be an appropriate amount for this. So I will let you know once we've gone through the whole practice quiz and I do a little math. Okay, any questions on page 1 in general? Anything at all? Something is caught under here. Okay, if not, let's go ahead to page 2. And now we're looking at inequalities. So let's make a few notes to keep in mind about inequalities to have on our practice quiz. You know, your practice quiz, this is counting as notes, so you can use it on the actual quiz. So feel free to take notes on this as well. It'll be a good tool for us. What are some of the things that we need to remember when solving inequalities? What are some of the special cases to remember?
You need to have n by itself.
N needs to be by itself. Okay, so maybe we could write that. Goal, get n by itself.
When you multiply or divide with the n,
Mhm.
your symbol flips.
Yes. So if you multiply
I
or
say multiply or divide by -1. on both sides.
Yes, on both sides or on the variable. So anytime that we have to change the sign of n, because I'm using n here, anytime n changes from a negative to a positive, we flip the sign. We flip the sign. Or because whenever we do that, we're doing it on both sides of the equation or of the inequality. So if you multiply or divide by a negative, I'm going to say on both sides, slash on the variable, and you don't have to write all this, whatever helps you remember. I'm going to say flip the sign. Yeah, the flip-flop process. There we go. Okay, is there anything else that we need to keep in mind?
When adding and subtracting, make sure you switch the sign from what it already is.
When adding and subtracting, switch
So,
the
like, You
sign.
have a positive 6.
Uh-huh.
You gotta make sure that you take it by negative 6.
Oh, yes. Okay, so you mean making sure to use inverse operations, the opposite. Yes, 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 yes. So I'll write this at the top. Inverse. Again, this is all optional to write. I'm just giving us things to remember. Inverse, wow, I can't spell. Operations. Remember, that's plus and minus are opposite. Multiply and divide are opposite. So those are some things to remember. Is there any other time where we would need to flip our answer for any reason?
If the variable's on the right side.
Yes, so if we have a problem where we end up with a number is, for example, greater than n, we need to make sure n comes first. We would flip the thing. So we want to make sure in our answer, n comes first. So, where should I write that? Put it down here. N comes first in our answer.
Wait, I'm confused. You lost me for a second there.
So n comes first. So for example, if I had a problem where my answer was 12 is less than n, what would I need to do to this answer before I graph it?
It's greater than n.
Yes, we would need to flip it. N needs to come first. Right here, 12 comes first. So to make n come first, I'm going to put n first. And then I'm going to make sure that my alligator, because it's eating the n here, that it's still eating the n when I flip it. So my teeth are towards the n. My teeth are still towards the n. You see that? So that's how we flip it. We need n to come first. Okay? Does that make sense, you guys? Awesome. Okay, all of that being said, let's look at number 6, the first one on this page. I have n divided by 4 plus 6 is less than negative 2. Where would I start?
Subtract 6 on both sides.
Good, let's subtract 6 from both sides. My 6's would cancel.
Bring everything down.
Bring everything down. N over 4 is less than
Negative 8.
-8. Good. Okay. So what would I do next?
Multiply by 4 on both sides.
Good. Let's multiply by 4 on both sides.
N is less than negative 30.
Good. N is less than -8 times 4. What is that?
Negative 32.
-32. Okay. So we got n is less than negative 32. Any questions before we do the graph? And at any point, if I am going too fast, please tell me. Okay, I don't want anybody to be getting behind. So we have our answer, n is less than negative 32. What do I do first on my graph? Yes, let's put our number, negative 32. Open circle, very good. And what direction do I shade?
Left.
To the left. We have less than. Also remember that our sign makes an arrow that points in the direction we're shading, to the left. There we go, very good. Okay, so this problem, let's see, we subtract 6, that's 1 step, times 4, 2 steps, proper answer, 3 steps, and then our graph. So, let's say 1, 2, 3, 3 points for getting the right answer and the right process, and then shading the right way, circle open. Let's see. Let's say this one is worth 5 points. 5 points for number 6. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any questions about that? Okay. Can we go on to number 7? All right, so number 7, does anybody immediately notice something we need to be careful about on number 7? Ah, there's a negative with our n, with our variable. So let's keep that in mind as we solve it. What's our first step? Take away 4 on both sides. Good. So my 4's will cancel. Negative 3n is greater than or equal to, what's 13 minus 4? 9. Perfect. That is good. It's a correct answer. Okay, what are we doing next? Good. Let's divide by negative 3. Now, we just divided by a negative. What happens? Yes, our sign changes. So I'm going to make a note of that. We divided by a negative. That means our sign is going to flip. Instead of greater than or equal to, now it's less than or equal to. Good. N is less than or equal to 9 divided by negative 3 is negative 3. So that is our answer. And what's our graph going to look like? Negative 3. Closed circle. To the left. Very good. So let's see. We subtracted 4. We divided by a negative. We flip the sign. We get the answer. This one is going to be worth 6 points, an extra 1 point for remembering to flip the sign. So let's say you get the right answer, but you forget to flip the sign. That's just 1 point off. I'm not going to count the whole problem wrong. I try to make them worth enough points so that losing 1 point doesn't absolutely kill your grade. Any questions about number 7? Okay, can we go to 8? Let's do it. Number 8, we have 3 times the quantity of n minus 2 is greater than 30. What do I do first? Yes, you have 2 options. You can distribute your 3 and multiply to get 3n minus 6, or you could divide both sides by 3 to get n minus 2 is greater than 10. Let's start with the distribution method since that's what we've been used to lately. I'm happy to work out the other way too. So when we distribute, what operation are we doing? Multiplication. That's going to give us 3 times n, which is 3n. We'll bring down our minus. 3 times 2 is 6. And then we bring everything down, greater than 30. Okay. And what do we do from here?
Plus 6 on both sides.
Yes, plus 6 on both sides.
6 absolutely put it down with 3n.
Mm-hmm.
Greater than 36.
Good. Now I have 3 times n is greater than 36.
Then you divide on the 3 on both sides.
Good. Then we'll divide by 3, which is going to give us n is greater than what? 12. Very, very good. And you'll notice as we go through these, I'm circling all my answers. I would love and appreciate if you guys did the same. Looking through lots of numbers all over a paper, having your answers circled makes it a lot easier for me to grade it. So I do appreciate if you guys could do that. Circle your answers. So we have n is greater than 12. What's our graph look like?
Oh, 12.
12 on the tick mark.
Circle open.
Open circle.
And to the right.
To the right. Perfect. Okay, any questions on number 8, or does anyone want to see the other way to solve it? Everybody's good? Okay, let's look at number 9. We're almost there. Number 9, I have, how many points is this one worth? Let's see. So we distributed, we added, we divided, we got our answer, we got our graph. That's 5 points. For number 8, that's worth 5 points. Okay. So now let's look at number 9. I've got 12 is less than 4n minus 8. What should I do first?
Add 8.
Add 8 to both sides. Okay.
Bring everything down.
Bring everything down. What's 12 plus 8?
20.
20. Less than 4 times n.
Divide by 4.
Good. Let's divide by 4. And my 4's will cancel. I'll get 20 divided by 4 is
5.
5. It's less than n. Okay, so we've,
Turn it around.
yes.
N is greater than 5.
Good. So once we're to here, remember we want to flip our answer so that n comes first. N needs to come first. So n, and in the beginning we have the alligator is eating the n. So when we flip it, it still needs to eat the n. And then 5. So don't forget to flip it if n is not coming first. Okay, is anybody confused or have questions about why we flipped it? Anybody need more clarification there? Are we good on that? Okay. Okay, let's do the graph now. What goes first? The 5. Good. Circle open. And to the right. Very, very good. So this one is worth, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That one is also worth 5 points. Not too many steps there. Okay. Any questions about number 9? Okay, you guys are doing awesome, hanging in there. We are at, let's see, we have 10 and 11 and then 12, and that's it, okay? And remember, 12 is a bonus question, so you guys are doing great. I know we're kind of pushing through here. So number 10, we're moving on to compound inequalities. So this is where we've got two different inequalities that we need to solve. We'll figure out which number goes first. We'll do our shading. Still keeping all the same rules in mind as we go. So let's start with our first side here. I have negative 2n is greater than 12. What should I do here? Good. Let's divide by negative 2 on both sides. Okay, so my negative 2's cancel. What happens next? N is greater than negative 6. Everybody agree with that?
No. It's
Uh-oh.
less than.
Ah, so what happened? Why'd you say less than?
I'm sorry, I got it on my phone.
'Cause we
That's
divided
okay.
by a negative.
Yes, we divided by a negative, so that sign's got to flip. Now it's n is less than negative 6.
Doing that.
That's okay, that's okay. So we got the first one. N is less than negative 6. Okay. And what about the other half here?
Multiply by 3 on both sides.
Good, let's multiply by 3 on both sides.
18 times 3 is 54.
Good, so n is greater than 54. Okay. And this is an OR inequality. So if we did this correctly, our graph should be shaded on the outside, pointing away from each other. So let's double check, make sure it's right. Which number would come first? Good, negative 6. That one is smaller, so 54 goes over here. Are the circles open or closed? Open for both of them? Okay, perfect. And let's see. N is less than negative 6, so which direction do we shade? To the left, where it's less. Good. And 54 is, n is greater than 54, so we'll shade to the right for the greater. Very, very good. So if you see OR, you'll know that if you forgot to flip your sign, when you're graphing and you're shading, if your negative 6 is going towards the 54, you're not ever going to have a graph here where you're shading, 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 circle, shading, shading, shading. They're always either going to be pointing towards each other or away from each other. Okay, so you'll be able to catch that as you do these. Bless you. Okay, so this one, 2, let's see. 1, 2, 3. This one is worth 6 points. Any other questions for page 2? Okay, let's go to the last page. We have 2 more problems. 2 more problems. Then we'll be done. So number 11, I have 5 plus n over 3 is greater than or equal to negative 2, and negative 3 plus 4n is less than 21.
Subtract 5 on both sides.
Good. Let's start with subtracting 5 on both sides.
N over 3 is greater than or equal to negative 7.
Perfect. N over 3 is greater than or equal to negative 7.
Multiply by 3.
Good. And then we just multiply by 3.
N is greater than or equal to negative 21.
Good. N is greater than or equal to negative 21. And let's look at the other one. What should we do next here?
Add 3.
Good. Let's add 3 to both sides. And my 3's will cancel.
4n is less than 24.
4n is less than 24. Okay. What do I do next? Good. Divide by 4.
N is less than 6.
Perfect. N is less than 6. All right. So, what's my graph going to look like?
Negative 21 first.
Negative 21 comes first. 6 is next.
Close circle on 21.
Good. Negative 21 has a closed circle.
6 has open.
6 has an open circle. And where do we shade?
In the middle.
In the middle. Good. Because this is an and inequality, so we do it in the middle. We see negative 21, n is greater than or equal to, so we're shading to the right. From 6, it's less than 6, so to the left, they're towards each other. Shade in between. Very, very good. Okay, any questions on number 11?
No, but I got one for 12.
You got one for 12? Okay, let's look at 12 together. So this is another optional bonus, and this is another one where you're supposed to find the mistakes in the student's work.
I did, but they still go in the center.
Ah, okay, so let's see. What's the mistake you found?
They divided it into multiply.
Ah, okay, so here we have, they added 2, that's right. And then they got to here. 3 plus 2 is 5. They brought down the n over 3. Okay, I see. They divided by 3 where they should have done what?
Multiply.
They should have multiplied by 3. So that's the mistake. That means this number is going to be wrong. So let's see what the right answer would be. I'm going to move this down here. I'm going to rewrite that problem. N over 3 minus 2 is less than 3. So they added 2 first, which is correct. And then we have n over 3 is less than 5. And you said we should be multiplying by 3, not dividing.
N is less than 15.
Good, so then we get n is less than 15. That's what the answer should be. Okay, so n is less than 15. Now, let's check the other one. Did they do this one correctly?
Yeah.
They did? Okay, good. So, let's look at their answer. First of all, whenever they got 1.67 and they got 3, what did they do incorrectly with the graph?
They got their numbers backwards.
They got their numbers backwards, first of all. 1.67 is smaller than 3, so that one should have came first. This is an or, so it should be facing outwards, but it doesn't, does it? Even when you correct it. So, first of all, this graph would be wrong, because that's the wrong number. But if we tried to correct the graph, let's see what happens. So n is greater than 3, n is less than 15. Let's write that. Our 3 comes first, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then our 15. Open circles or closed circles?
Open.
Open. And let's check our directions. So n is greater than 3. So do we shade to the right or the left?
Right.
To the right. And n is less than 15, so right or left?
Left.
Left. Oh, but look at this. We would have to shade in the middle. So is this really an or inequality?
No.
No. So even the teacher made a mistake. You could correct that too. It should be and. Should be and. So for the bonus ones, correct as many of the mistakes as you can find. The more you correct, the more bonus points you might get. If you find a mistake, make sure that you specify what the correct answer should be. And that's really all there is to it, guys. Let me get the total points added up for y'all if you're curious. This one, I made the last one 6 points. So let's see. 6 plus, let's see, 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Am I counting right? 5, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Okay, this page alone is 27 points. That's a lot of points, y'all. I don't normally make them worth that much, but let's see. This page is worth 3 plus 3 is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14 points. Okay, so 14, 27, and this one has got 6 points. So let me decide on the bonus. 6 plus 27 plus 14. What does that give me? 6 plus 7. 6 plus 4 is 10, 17. 2, 3, 4. Oh my goodness, 47 points. I didn't mean to make it worth that much. Okay, so 47. Let's see. Bonus. 48. Okay. So if you're curious about the bonus, on number 5, this is worth 1 bonus point. You will get half a point if you are able to identify the mistake. You'll get another half a point if you can correct it. So plus 1 bonus possible. Okay, so plus 0.5 for correcting it, plus another 0.5, or for identifying the mistake, another 0.5 for correcting it. And then the other bonus question, because there's more to correct, this one is worth up to 2 bonus points. And let's see, if you correct different parts, 0.5, 0.5, fixing it, another 0.5, 0.5. It all just depends on how it comes out. So if you are able to do the bonus points and get everything right on here, the highest possible score you can get is 106%. Okay? If you miss 3 points but get the bonus, you still get 100%. Okay? So before we take the quiz, again, you may take it today if you would like. If you don't want to take it today, you don't feel ready, don't feel like you have to today, my plan for us is we were just going to go through this practice quiz together, and then I want to open the floor for any questions or concerns any of you might have. But that is the practice quiz. Do any of you have questions for me? Concerns? Things you're unsure about? Okay. So I do want to mention one more thing. This is a fun goal I like to work towards in my room. So if you notice over on the orange wall in the room, we have the fridge. I know it's kind of elementary. I was originally an elementary teacher, but you know, I think we deserve to celebrate when we do well on a quiz or a test. So if you get an A, which in here is a 90% or higher, you get a fun little sticky note and you get on the fridge. We celebrate it. We keep it up all term. Those are from last term. I still need to laminate them. What I've been doing is after I take them all down, I laminate them and they go on that back wall. So eventually this back wall is going to be all filled up with all my A's. So that is the plan. If you take the quiz, again, you don't feel like you did that great, remember you can make corrections all the way until the due date. I am thinking, since this week was so odd and me not being here, I'm going to make a longer due date on this one. Let's say the last day to take this for full credit is, well, let's see, instead of Friday, I'm going to extend it 2 days since I wasn't here for 2 days. So it's Monday, Tuesday. I'm going to say by next Wednesday. So I'll write that on here. And I'll make an announcement on Classroom. So take the quiz by Wednesday. And that is January 29th. For full credit. Okay, and as a rule of thumb, before you take a quiz, I would like for a practice quiz to be filled out. Since you all were here today, that should already be completed, which is wonderful. And that will count as an exit ticket score. So when you do decide to take the quiz and you turn your quiz in, turn your practice quiz in with it so that I can give you points for that. So if you are not taking the quiz today, I'm going to let you be free to go. If you would like to start on the quiz, I'm going to offer that to everybody. We have 1 hour left in here today. Before I give the quiz out, I think we all need a breather. So if you plan on staying to take the quiz, feel free to take a little break. If you would like to wait, if you want to take it tomorrow, if you want to take it next week, then you are dismissed for the day. No exit ticket. It's Thursday. I'm going to keep that promise. And next week will hopefully be a little bit less all over the place. This week was kind of crazy. So I'm going to end our recording there. That is it for you guys today.